Okay, Joe, I see your name badge, but give me your name and title for the tape.
Joe Wynn, with the Veterans Entrepreneurship Task Force and President of the Vets Group.
Okay, and what's your title with the task force?
I'm the treasurer and a member of the executive committee.
Okay.
I'm also the legislative liaison for the National Association for Black Veterans and special advisor to the Vietnam Veterans of America.
Okay, great. And even though I'm popping up, keep level with the camera when you look. So I guess the first question, you asked a question about what contractors, what primes are requesting in terms of certification for veteran-owned businesses. There seems to be some issues between whether they are VA certified or self-certified throughout the government. Explain that.
Yeah, see, the legislation that was created back in 2003 to create the requirement for service-disabled veteran-owned businesses to do business with the federal government, wherein federal agencies are required to procure a minimum of 3% of all of their goods and services from service-disabled veteran-owned businesses. That program to qualify those types of businesses is considered a self-certifying program for all federal agencies except the VA. A few years after that program started, I guess around 2006, 2007, the VA began to were required to start their own verification program for those businesses seeking to do business specifically within the Department of Veterans Affairs. And now, over the past few years, as that program and that process for verification at the VA has become so overly burdensome and complex that many businesses are having a difficult time getting verified by the VA. But they still should be allowed to do business at other agencies and with large primes. But we're finding more and more now that other agencies and large primes are looking to see if you've been verified by the VA before they will consider doing business with you at other agencies.
Yeah, that's a problem. What is being done? What is your task force doing to rectify this situation? Because this could have pretty serious economic impact.
Oh, it does have serious economic impact, particularly on veterans and their families in the community. This past Tuesday, a hearing was held by the House Small Business Committee and the House Veterans Affairs Committee. It was a joint hearing to discuss some of these issues. Some of the considerations that have come out of that hearing and in previous discussions is to look at the similarities or differences between the different programs, the regulations, the language and the regulations between the different programs. And those programs I'm referring to are the Hub Zone program, the 8A program, and the Women-Owned Small Business program. Well, what we're finding is that the language and the regulations for those programs, as well as the VA Veterans Small Business Program, are very similar. So what we've concluded is that the VA's interpretation of the regulations is what's creating such an inconsistent difference in the manner in which those veteran businesses are being viewed.
So I don't get what interpretation can they get that's blocking this situation.
Well, some of the issues apparently are coming from such things as whether or not the business owner, first of all, we know that the majority owner, whether it's woman, 8A, Hub Zone, or veteran, needs to be the majority owner. So we check the status. Everybody's okay with that. Where we get into issues is this unconditional control of your company. And some of the primary areas where many veterans are being denied is when we begin to look at, do they control the day-to-day operations? Are they devoting full time to business? Are there any transfer restrictions such as the right of first refusal. When we talk about the right of first refusal, we're talking about you, the majority owner who's a veteran, and your minority owner has a right to be informed that you're going to sell the company at some point. And under the VA's interpretation of that rule, they have been viewing that as you not having full control. So you were denied, whereas that had not been such a stringent requirement in the other programs. Day-to-day operations and devoting full time to the business, we believe that notion of that evolved out of the 8A small business contracting regulations, where we're talking about companies that have a limitation on assets, net worth. So we're talking about very small companies. In the Service Disabled Vet program, there's no limitation on the net worth or assets that the owner can obtain. And so we have very experienced and large service-disabled veteran businesses participating in these programs who obviously would not be doing business the same way as a company with 1 and 2 employees. So you wouldn't expect the owner of a company with hundreds of employees, small business, but still hundreds of employees in different locations around the country, to be in the office every day demonstrating that they're participating in the day-to-day operations. With the communications capabilities that we have today, the person who owns the company and in charge of the company, as it is designated on all the legal documents, can very well pass information and dictate instructions to their supervisors and managers, vice presidents, wherever they may be all around the country or the world. So the interpretation and view that the owner has to be somehow seated at the desk in the primary office every day to demonstrate that they're in full control is just outdated.
That's it. I'm gonna stop it. Because that's interesting. I mean, that's like, what? I mean, that's just crazy.
It just gets you frustrated.